Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to Divulgence. Today, I am more than excited to welcome back researcher, podcaster, writer, Mr. Brad Binkley from the Propaganda Report. Brad, what's going on, man? How are you, my friend?
I'm good. We were talking about those tracksuits before, the Maduro tracksuits, how they sold out from Nike, and
Yes.
you made a good point. How Trump should brand his own tracksuit. Now he sees how popular they are. I'm happy to be back. I know it's been a couple months, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again up in Canada. Correct?
You got it, my friend. Yeah, it's been cool lately. The last week hasn't been too bad. It's been like average -8, -10, but before that we had a few weeks. Yeah, before that we had a few weeks of Before that we had a few weeks of average -26, 27, and then we had 1 week that was like -30 almost every day. So that was kind of shitty.
Yeah.
But,
we cancel school and work 3 days in advance if it's 15 degrees down here in Georgia. So that's kind of crazy to me. A few weeks ago, they had the story about the ice storm that was coming to the south, and it was going to be crippling. And and I was like, nothing's going to happen here, and nothing happened here. There was no ice that I was aware of. It didn't. I mean, there's ice, but not that kind of ice. We're talking about a different ice storm. If we're talking Minnesota, but the ice here was nothing, and I love it. Because I would love for that to happen every single day as long as there's no ice, because the traffic was never better. There was nobody on the roads.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, they a few weeks ago they were making a big deal about all of these record storms and snow and temperatures, and yeah, that's good that you didn't get hit, because I mean, I know that New York had some trouble. Whether they're having trouble or not, I know it seems like Florida's getting. Is it true Florida's getting like record snow?
I haven't heard that. Maybe the way that it seems to work every year. Of course, there are record temperatures that happen based on what's been recorded, but to make it a story every year, you have to report it as some sort of record-breaking event. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like that's going to be the story every year, framed. You know, how to lie with statistics. How can you frame it to where it's a high or a low in a certain place by maybe using a little geographical cutoffs. It's I mean, because it certainly didn't seem like any sort of record here for me. It really seemed like a cold day.
Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, but going to your point about like the media trying to, they got to do this to sell it as that, and it just reminds me of there was this story. It's been happening a lot with the Epstein stories, like almost kind of like it's kind of clickbait, I guess you could say, in a way. This one here I saw, RFK Jr.'s new chatbot advises the public on best foods to insert into rectum. So I thought, oh wow, geez, that's interesting. That sounds right up RFK Jr.'s alley, right? Like that's
I mean, really,
he would rubber stamp that totally. But then it turns out that it didn't just like suggest it or outline it to someone or people, to multiple people. Like the person that it happened to, they like specifically asked, like, what are the best foods to stick up your ass? So the story is like not all that interesting. Like, I mean,
so it's like asking Chat GPT.
Like, I was just gonna say, like, if I asked that, like, is that
RFK Jr. Yeah, were to recommend the best foods to stick up your rectum, what might they be? And Chat GPT would be like, well, we can't say that he's done that, but if you were to do that. But what a great question.
Yeah, exactly. But what a great question. I'm so happy you asked.
That's funny. Did you see I haven't looked into it yet, but there was a story that said that, and maybe it's real, maybe it was in the files or not. I just kind of saw it in passing. It was like RFK Jr. went like he went on a dinosaur hunting dig with Epstein.
With Epstein and Epstein and Ghislaine.
And Ghislaine, that's right.
That is,
which is interesting. Yeah. It's also perfectly fitting that if that's true, to go searching for a giant bone
Exactly. That's again, that is totally up RFK Jr.'s alley. So let's see here. I actually hadn't gotten to the article yet or looked up the files yet. There's just so much going on, right? I'm sure, as you know. So let's. Speaking of which, I also read an article that it's possible that they've only released like 3% of what they should be releasing.
I'm sure.
Based on correspondence between I forget what it was, but based on correspondence between the people that were supposed to be helping with the releasing some time ago. They talk about sizes and terabytes and stuff, and it doesn't add up properly. Well, that's the gist of it.
The first clue there for me is that the emails that were released were Gmails.
Okay.
Let's see the Proton Mail. Let's see the more secure messaging apps.
Right. And I forget, they released like a list of other media he used. And it's like, I haven't heard anything about any of these other emails or social messaging apps or anything like that he was using.
And so something with it when it comes to Gmail, especially after he was arrested and released, and then after Trump got elected, and he knows that there's an eye on him, a governmental eye on him. I kind of think about it like this. When you break up with a girl, if you want her to know something, but you don't want her to know something, then you tell the friend of hers that still hangs around you that you know is going to tell her everything you're doing. So let's use Gmail.
Okay.
And everything I'm going to put in this Gmail, I'm well aware is going to be subject to some sort of exposure, because people have been calling for these files, even though they were called conspiracy theorists before. They've been calling for these for 10 years to release these so-called lists. And I got kicked off the radio in part because of it. And people called me and others crazy.
Really?
Now they act like it's just perfect. I told somebody last night I was talking to somebody, and they're like, no, this is crazy. And I was like, yeah, I know it's crazy. I've been called crazy for 10 years over this. And he's like, I don't think you're crazy. I was like, you did 10 years ago. It seems like it's normal now. It seems like it's normal now because it's so in the news and has been for the past few years. But 10 years ago, they were trying to conflate it with Pizzagate so they can discredit it. Now, some people will say Pizzagate is true, and I guess it depends on what your definition of that is. There are certainly true aspects of it, like you can take details and you can say this or that isn't true, but Pizzagate as a term was used to discredit it in the media, and somebody brought it up the other day. I actually have a video I made in 2017, I think, of Brian Stelter. I think it was Kaylee McEnany was on a show, and she brought up she was like, there are people trafficking children, the Epstein, she brought the Epstein stuff, and he immediately, as soon as he heard Epstein, he goes, we're not going to do any of that conspiracy nonsense on here, any of that Pizzagate nonsense, and I clipped that, and I made a video out of it, because that's what they always did. And anytime somebody brought up Epstein at the time, because it was not okay yet to talk about him in the mainstream, really, they would conflate it with Pizzagate as a way to shut it down, to call it crazy. And so it's, for me, it's just, it can be frustrating. I'm glad people are talking about it now, but for people to act like it's just always been normal when the same people were calling you crazy 10 years ago.
Yeah, man. I hear you, dude. I hear you. And props to you for keeping your head up and like, look at you. They're the idiots now, right? So no disrespect to any, friends or family that might be included there, but you know what I'm saying.
It's mainly the people who profit off it now, acting like they're the ones to discover it. I would call the grifter idiots is what I would call.
Gotcha. So since we were just talking about that, let's pull this up real quick. So, or actually, we'll finish with the dinosaur here. So, RFK Jr. went on a dinosaur bone hunting trip, quote unquote, trip with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. The fossil hunting trip was confirmed by an email exchange between Epstein and Maxwell, as well as an interview Maxwell did with the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. Kennedy previously addressed his flights on Epstein's jet while on the presidential campaign trail. So, like, It's not all that new, but it's pretty hilarious. I actually hadn't heard of it at the time, so yeah, that's really funny. And now I've also found here, since we were talking about his email, so here, Jeffrey Epstein didn't just have the JEE vacation email address. The Epstein files alone show 11 emails, including yada, 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 that seem pretty inconspicuous email. Including Columbia Dental 1 at yahoo.com. That seems a pretty great inconspicuous email to do evil from. That with the whole dental chairs, I forget his name, Magnati or whatever, his dentist, and his other dental related contacts. His girlfriend there, he was trying to get through dental school. I think that's who he left the estate to. So yeah, the dental connections seem really eerie and wild.
Imagine you go to the dentist, and you have the person who preps you, and the dentist walks in, pulls his mask down. It's Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein.
That's interesting. So. How many email addresses does any one person have? A ton of email addresses. I've forgotten some of my email.
Like give or take at one time, active, or like throughout your life.
Just throughout your life, which
Okay.
they're all going to have information. Like AOL, I have an AOL. I don't even know if I can still get into it. You know, Jeffrey Epstein had an AOL account. All people, boomers definitely
Right,
had an
they
AOL
would have had
account.
one.
You know, let's see that AOL account.
Makes sense. Yeah, exactly. Right. And then we also see that Epstein used Signal, Twitter, Instagram, FaceTime, Confide, which is another Signal-like privacy app with deleting messages, WhatsApp, and Telegram. So, yeah.
And I'm going to guess he probably had a Snap also somewhere going on. That seems to be where the guy's looking for the youngsters.
Like a Snapchat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure.
And those are the ones that are publicly identifiable to him.
Yeah, exactly. Like, who knows what other ones that are.
So, yeah, your point about the fraction of things being released, I think, is valid. I think like I said, the Gmail is the stuff that he knows is going to see the light of day. I think if somebody like him, since people were calling for it back then, I would put anything I wanted people to see in those Gmails.
Yeah, that's a great point, Brad. I'm glad you said that because, that's going to stick with me because, they this whole time they must have been like, while they were laying out this story of like, it's on my desk, it doesn't exist, and this and that, and Bondi the Clown has their circus going with the cross-eyed Patel, making all these lies under oath, just ridiculous lies. Like there's the clip going around like, how many times is Trump in the files? Is it is it more than 1,000? Nope. Is it more than 500? Nope. Is it more than 100? Nope. How many is it? I don't know. So he's talking out of his ass half the time, and the other half of the time he's just flying around, trying to be there when arrests are made, trying to look good.
Cash.
Yeah. Cross-eyed Patel.
Yeah, so it's like he does this, and you read Art of the Deal, and a lot of Trump actually makes sense. Whenever I bring up Art of the Deal, there's always people that say, well, he didn't write that. Yeah, okay. None of these people write their books. They walk around and they dictate, and then you have somebody who's a writer, and they write it for them. But Trump's book, Art of the Deal, it explains a lot of his activities. It corresponds perfectly with it. And this idea of surrounding himself with people who are a little stupid that can be fall guys for things and take the attention away, that is kind of what he's done throughout his career.
Absolutely.
Because these people are they're kind of retarded a little bit. I mean, Cash Patel, like you said, it's and Pam Bondi. even if she were to say something intelligent, the way she speaks, it sounds retarded.
Yeah, she's no good, man.
She sounds like a
Yeah.
63-year-old sorority mother. Probably
And
hot in her day.
yeah, oh for sure. But I can't even see her that way now because like just how fucking ridiculous she is. Like when she's supposed to be like having a heart and apologizing to trafficking victims, she's going on about the Dow. Like
And the reading of her script, she fumbled around trying to find where her pages were. Did you see that part?
yeah,
That's when she was like looking through.
yeah,
Because she kept looking down, and I've been an actor and I've gone to many auditions, and a cold read is when you come in and you really aren't familiar with the script, and you're trained to be able to make contact with the casting director and the camera while still kind of glancing down and capturing the words. And when you lose your place and it gets real fumbly, and she was basically looked like she was doing a cold read and she couldn't find her spot, and that's why people started laughing during the hearing, and that's why I was like, you seem like a pretty good traitor, Raskin. It's
right.
just but what that does, again, it takes the attention away from Trump and puts it on her kind of seeming incompetence. And she's probably not even that dumb. You to be a lawyer and get through law school, you have to have a little bit of work ethic, and you have to be
It's
intelligent.
training. Like this is Trump training. I feel that's a comment
Yeah.
that I made was like I feel like she's learned well from Trump to get through something like this in the way that she's getting through it.
Right. Be aggressive and
Yeah. Be aggressively ignorant and ignorantly aggressive, and like she showed up with the at the one of the previous hearings. She showed up with the burn book. Did you hear about that?
I did. What exactly was the burn book?
I think it was just like disparaging and stuff about members that she could bring up and essentially hurl shit at people.
Okay, I do remember somebody saying that.
Yeah, and then she had the notes on the search histories of the few Congress people that were able to get computers to search the Epstein files. She had notes
Really?
on what they were searching. Yeah, so
that's funny to me.
It's interesting. It's really interesting.
And I don't mind the idea of having the history of these people in Congress there. I know it distracts away from the content of the question. Ideally, for me, I would love to see the content of the question addressed and then the burn book information pulled out, because most of these people have a pretty corrupt past that they don't want exposed. So I would like to see double exposure going on. And the search history thing is obviously you're going to have a search history there. I don't know what the computer setup is like. I know they had a minimum amount of computers, but any computer has a search history unless the cache is deleted. I mean, it'd be funny if like Raskins and they're just looking up BBD porn or some weird stuff. Raskin, we know what you were doing in the skiff.
Yeah, we know exactly what you did.
Or he puts up a picture of some disgusting. No, that's they're all. It's like a battle of sleaze bags going on in Congress. It's hard to see anybody there from my perspective as being. Nobody's pure ever, really. Everybody has, like, we're all flawed, but it seems like the most flawed and the most willingly corrupt are the ones who rise to these positions of power because of how corrupt they are. I was telling somebody last night that I think it'd be funny to do like a parody of Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, where he's all fired up and all the people rally around this guy who just wants to go work for the people. And then he gets to Washington, and then first person to greet him is like, Raskin and Lindsey Graham and Schumer, and they're like, "Come on, would you like a drink?" And they're obviously drugged, and then there's like a montage of him partying, and then he blacks out, wakes up, and there's compromising photos next to him, and then we see him on his first speech in Congress, and he's like, I pledge as senator to support Israel, or whatever the thing he's supposed to say is. It's just that's what Congress feels like. even if that's not true, it's what it feels like, I think, to most people.
It feels so like almost pointless, actually, because not only are they all corrupt and compromised, but they're all on a team.
Right.
And so
Right.
where we're supposed to be addressing issues, some of these people just take their time. Some of the, like during the last hearing with Pam Bondi, for example, some of the Republicans just took their time to lick Bondi's butt crack instead of
Right.
asking her
Praise the work
questions,
she's done.
or so, and then she's able to and it turns into that environment, and it allows Bondi to say things like, I'm not going to get into the gutter with your rhetoric and your circus and that. And then so much time is wasted on just bickering and arguing and trying to one up each other. So not much came out of that hearing, in my opinion, really.
Right. And so when it's team sports like that, Ryan Christian, the last American vagabond, he always says team sports politics. When that's what's going on, then the truth of the matter is not the primary objective ever. I was thinking about this the other night. The way that I relate to the enthusiasm and the hate that people have when it comes to politics, left to right, and how divided it is through the place where I've been brainwashed and captured that I struggle with, and that's sports. And
right.
Football, Georgia Tech is a very bad team. And I didn't choose to be a Georgia Tech fan. I was born into it before I had any critical thought. I tell gay people I understand their plight. I wouldn't choose to be a Georgia Tech fan. I'd choose to be an Alabama or a Georgia fan. I didn't have a choice in this. And they always really appreciate that. I can tell you that. Nevertheless, when Tech plays Georgia or any team, if there's a call that's obviously a flawed call that changed, like this past season, Georgia Tech was undefeated. They were 8-0. They lost a bunch of games at the end, but they played Wake Forest, and Wake Forest was about to beat them. All they needed to do was get a first down. And on a play, Georgia Tech clearly jumped off sides, and the guy had jumped back, and it wasn't called. And Tech stopped them. They got the ball back. They tied it, went to overtime, and Tech won. I know that Tech should have lost that game. I don't care. I don't care that they won based on a call that was never made. And that's how politics, I think, works when it's team sports politics. People can see corruption happening, but when it happens in their favor, they do not care. Because what they care about the most is that their side is vindicated and the other side looks bad. And I think that for sports, that's a little bit less consequential unless you're gambling. But when it comes to politics and how it affects people's lives, I think that we should be a little more adult about it.
I agree, man. I agree. Yeah, sports has definitely turned into a huge spell, right? Like so much drama. So there's so much money poured into it, and
Polymarket, dude.
Yeah, you're getting flashed with so many ads, and now there's this sports betting is just crazy these days.
It's politics betting also, dude. With Polymarket. Like I go.
Yeah, I know that.
Like,
have you ever used Polymarket, Brad?
So I haven't used Polymarket.
You don't mind me asking.
I've used Predict It before, and I made some political bets on Predict It that I won because I was like, man, I pay attention to stuff all the time. I feel like I might be able to do okay in it, and I lost a few bets, but I'm in the plus on that. But then Polymarket emerged, and I started seeing these bets, and probably 2 years ago when Predict It emerged, I told people that this is the craziest thing I've ever seen because the outcome of these bets are dependent on one individual. And that oftentimes is, what will this person say during this speech? Well, the speechwriter should put all the money they have on the outcome of that bet because they know exactly what's going to be said. And there was one a couple weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, that I'm kicking myself for not putting a bunch of money on because I called it correctly. It was, how many times will Kathy Hochul say New York or New Yorkers during her State of the New York speech that she's giving? And it was over or under 30 was the bet. And the percentage of people saying under 30 was like 80%. And I'm like, that seems like a low bet. So I just went and looked at her previous speeches I think she had done 2 before that. And I just went and counted the number that she'd done before that. And it was like 90 both times. And I'm like, well, she's definitely going to go over 30. And then I just forgot to put a bet down before it happened. And she just blew past the number. And the speechwriter and Kathy Hochul can obviously make a lot of money off. It's out in the open insider trading type stuff. And it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously going to be some regulation stuff that comes down. But right now, it's like a Wild West of being able to manipulate the outcome of gambling. And that's what the NBA players got in trouble with, is they had one player. So you could bet on, will so-and-so get 10 rebounds in this game, and then this player's faking an injury. Well, he's got 8 rebounds, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think it was basketball, and then didn't baseball get nicked for it too recently?
Baseball's got hit. A couple of pitchers got hit because people were betting on like individual pitches and stuff, and it's crazy. And it is. There was some UFC UFC fighters. There was a little bit of controversy, but it's interesting that they don't focus as much on the UFC with that, even though it's very clearly an arena where that can happen. Just like they talk about the brain damage that football players get. CTE or something.
CTE, yeah, I think it's CTE.
It's something, yeah, it's something like that they're like, it's a major problem, and they'll say this shooter had that problem. There's one like last year, the guy shot up the NFL offices, they said. And I've never once, and maybe I've just missed it, I've never once heard that discussed in the context of UFC fighting. And I'm like, it seems like it might be an issue there if it's going to be an issue in football. But for some reason, I don't know what that means, because the sport has become more popular and maybe they want people more involved in it. I don't know. But that's just crazy sport. Have you ever been to one of those?
An NFL game?
No, a UFC fight.
Oh, I'm sorry, a UFC fight. No. I don't think I would have any interest in that. It's very violent, and I mean, it's kind of
really violent. It's really violent, and I never. It's pretty what gay? Is that what you said?
Pretty gay too. I mean, like I was out eating the other day, and I look up and they're doing replays, and Buddy's on top of the other guy, face backwards, and he's literally like dunking his ass right in his face, and it's like, dude, you're like forgetting to hump the guy, like going like this. It's the moves, flex.
The self-defense and the takedown moves can seem that way. I'm not going to call it that because I know I'm going to run into some UFC fighters in the futures. These dudes are like, you know, I would never want to get into a problem with one of the, I mean, because these dudes, they're like trained. I saw one of them training, and all he does, hands behind back, just get his face punched over and over again.
Yeah, like fuck.
And I'm like, that's tough, man. These guys know how to fight. They're black belts in the various different martial arts, and they get in these. They're paid to do these fights, and you see how happy they get when Dana White says you get an extra $50,000. Makes me think they're probably underpaid to kind of destroy their body, especially the dudes at they're not necessarily at the higher levels of it. They're trying to get in on it. And it's just like, how are you not talking about the same thing you're talking about in football? There's no helmet. It's brutal. It's kind of, at first I was like, I didn't think I'd like it. Then I started watching it, and it's like, this stuff is crazy. It's crazy to see the moves and the different types of styles that they're fighting. And it definitely makes you hesitate if you're ever going to get a little, mouthy to somebody at a bar, because you really don't know. Although I would look at the ears, see if they're cauliflowered, see if the nose is pushed in. You might be able to tell who not to talk to. But it's like, you go to one of these fights. I've been to one, and I got there at 6 because they go like all night long.
Okay.
At 6 p.m., everybody's hammered already. I went to the bathroom. Okay. It was full of dudes who were just screaming at like 6 p.m. At 10 p.m., it's like you're stepping over piles of vomit because everybody's so drunk. And during the fight, there's grapplers and there's boxers, and this is my understanding, the simple understanding that I have of it. And when the grapplers just pin somebody to the ground because they're trying to win the fight, the horde starts booing. And it's like the people in the crowd are like, oh, boo, kill him, boo, kill him. And they just want the violence to ensue. Like they want them to destroy each other. And it makes me think of watching the movie Gladiator.
Oh, dude, I was just going to say that. Exactly. Yeah. You just pulled that.
It's crazy. It's a bloodlust that it percolates throughout the crowd, and like it's really wild.
Crazy. That's wild. I've been to a few. Back in the day, I've been to a few WWF when it was called WWF, but never any UFC.
Yeah, those guys are extraordinary athletes, and it's just like, I hope they're making the amount of money that they can take care of themselves and their families for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, man. Because some of these guys, like, just on that journey to get there, it seems like some of them go through some mental issues.
Imagine if you don't get there.
Anger issues. Yeah.
You know,
like come on, all that, and what are you left with? If you're left with nothing, it's dangerous, right? It can be dangerous.
So I like want to learn that stuff, but I don't. I would never want to go, which is, I don't intend to ever go get in a ring like that. But for basic self-defense, I think that stuff is excellent to know. Just like I think going through like boot camp would be useful for everyone without having to enlist and maybe go to war, a war you don't want to fight.
Yeah, for sure. Just having, I can agree with that. Just having some skills and some knowledge on how to defend yourself and kind of be nice to stay fit to defend yourself.
Yeah, disarming jokes only goes so far.
For sure, dog. Can go pretty far sometimes, but sometimes it can only go so far. That is so true. Oh shit. So I guess going back to Epstein, let's start there. What's your thoughts on the recent dump and the revelations that you've been seeing out of it?
I haven't seen many revelations personally.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you had some interesting insights on what we should be looking at. And
what was interesting to me in the beginning of it was the day that the 3 million files came out. Was in the afternoon, a few hours after the news broke that there was an FBI raid on Fulton County election offices here in Georgia.
Right.
Which was, huge story, been a huge story the past few years. I've been speaking with Garland Favorito, who is an election integrity expert, has been for like 25 years now. The guy's not biased. He does the best work. He's not paid for. He doesn't make any money off of it. It's what he does. And so I've been familiar with the stuff that they kind of revealed and legitimized through this raid and this indictment. And I just thought it was interesting that something that you would think the Trump administration would want the media focus to be on got flooded out by the Epstein files later that day. Because that's kind of what they do is when there's something in the news that they want people to focus on, the cycle gets focused on that. And maybe the left-leaning media is not going to want to focus on that, but the right-leaning media would have. But then the Epstein files come out, and then nobody's talking about this Fulton County raid that happened, or the details of it, or the indictment, or not the indictment, but the affidavit that came out maybe a week ago or so. And I just thought that was interesting, because that was the Trump Justice Department that released that. So they could have waited a week had they really wanted to. But so I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I just thought that was a little bit odd. And also, 3 million documents is more than any one individual can consume throughout an entire lifetime. So everybody is reliant on being able to search these documents. And that's another thing I thought was interesting. Every release that happened before this for something that the public was interested in was released on the website of either the DOJ or whether it was the New York federal courts or district courts or whatever, it was always released in individual pages that were JPEG files, so they're unsearchable. So you have to read them all. So, making it harder to go through them. These, they give you a search bar. They say, search away, have a great time, which means they want you to search them because it's going to occupy your time. It's like a treasure hunt. Everybody can find something they want within these files to satisfy their confirmation bias. And that's what people have done. And then, so it doesn't matter. Some people will be like, yeah, no, I understand that not everything here means it's validated because some of it's just literally tips that people call. You and I could call the FBI tip line right now and make a claim about Epstein. And if there's another document released in 3 months, we'd probably be in it.
Right.
Because they had stuff up until like I think 2025.
Yeah, they were collecting stuff up until when Bondi made that comment. It's on my desk. They were still collecting files. Let's put it that way.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what many of the things are. So with the release of the files, to get to truth, it means that those who are going through them, if they care about the truth, they have to use their critical thinking, and they have to be able to embrace cognitive dissonance and recognize the confirmation bias traps that are in there, which are everywhere. And what I found is that most people don't do any of that. They just search for what they think is true and who they think is guilty, and any reference to them, no matter how. Some of them have already been disproven previously because it's like old stuff that's been disproven. It doesn't matter. I was telling Garland the other day, so I kind of gauge where people are on some of the stuff in this gaming chat. I don't do a lot of gaming, but when I do, I go in there and almost everybody that I'm playing this game with on PlayStation, they're almost all huge progressives that hate Trump. And there's like 2 Republicans that just love Trump. And I can immediately tell what they have taken from things because they'll just start arguing about stuff and they're spitting talking points. And I'll jump in and kind of they actually see me as pretty unbiased because I kind of go after both of them a little bit. Not go after, but I'll just ask questions about it. But I can just tell they're like, if it's like a reference towards Clinton, they don't care about it. If it's a reference towards Trump, absolutely true, regardless of where it came from or whether it's an email. Same thing on the opposite side of it. So what these files seem to be to me are like a treasure hunt to keep people occupied with domestic quibbles, whatever the word is. I don't know. While not paying attention to what's going on with foreign politics, international politics. And I don't even know what's going on with international politics. And it makes me think back. So Walter Lippmann, I can't remember the name of his book. It wasn't Public. So Public Opinion was Bernays. Public Relation was Bernays. Public Opinion was a book written by Walter Lippmann like 110 years ago. And it stuck with me when I read this, as he talked about how you want to keep the domestic population busy and occupied with stupid fights so that the big boys, those in government, can handle the international politics without being bothered by everybody domestically. And I know it's harder to do that with modern social media, but it feels like that to me is part of what's going on here. And we spoke before the show about how we haven't really thought about some of the stuff going on internationally lately because everything's been focused domestically. Oh, you're muted, I think.
Sorry. You're right. I haven't been paying attention to, like, we were talking Ukraine, Russia. I'm not sure what's the status of that aside from
like you said that, I was like, oh yeah, Ukraine, Russia.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Gaza. I mean, remember when Gaza was nothing but
yeah.
That was the only thing in the news. Now
it's so crazy, dude. How quickly, but focus and concern can be shifted, or emotional feeling shifted. Yeah. It's agenda setting theory. It's a social science theory about how the media, the established media, and what I would spread that out to now are the influencer media on the social medias, their ability to control what people think about, the frame that people see it through, and how they feel about it. And that can shape the narrative. And whenever I think about the stuff we're talking about, that always comes to mind of where these things originated.
I agree. And now that these like influencer types, whether it be someone who is, trying to be a media figure like Tucker Carlson, Candace, Tim Pool, yada, 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 or if it's like one of these influencers that are just like trying to be an influencer like Andrew Tate or this clavicular jackass.
Where did that guy even come from? I had never seen this guy until 2 weeks ago, and now he's all I see.
Yeah. The other day, and even this morning, my feed was like all like a lot of him. I'm like, what the fuck, man?
It's weird.
He's a streamer. He like, do you know his shtick?
I the only thing that I know is that I have seen him popping up into my feed repeatedly, and that he was at Arizona State, and from what I gathered is he's a looks maxer.
Yeah, looks maxer.
Or something. And then I saw all these.
He's an ugly
terms.
fucker too.
Hey, you think he's an ugly guy? He's not a bad look. I think he's a pretty good looking guy. But
I mean, for someone like he just thinks he's so good looking, and it's like like really, like you're dude.
So what he seemed to have a younger audience, and that's why I don't understand why he shows up into my feed. The audience at Arizona
because he's hooking up with Andrew Tate now.
Right? Okay, maybe that's some of it. And Nick Fuentes was talking about him, but this guy had a streaming audience among younger people in college, and so he goes to these colleges, and of course, if you have a following, and you go to a college, it really doesn't matter what you look like. You're going to be looked at as some sort of celebrity that people will fawn over, and that's what it looked like in the videos that I saw. And I just didn't know why he was in my feed. There was nothing about X is trash. It's become. People were happy about it when Elon took over because you could say things that you couldn't say.
Right.
I like nothing. I post things and it goes nowhere. I have a decent following on there. I used to get far more traction like a year and a half ago, but now I don't even know how to check about being like shadow banned or if that's something that's real. But like I've kind of stopped posting on it unless I'm sharing a stream, which the streams don't even work anymore. The streams don't even share half the time over the past couple weeks, and it's botted. Like everything is botted on X now. It's like the dead internet theory. And so for this thing to just randomly show up, I'm like, that's for some reason, this is being popularized because I like maybe one time it shows up, but I'm not clicking on his stuff. I think I watched one thing for 5 seconds, and then I just ignored the rest of it, and then I see everybody talking about it, and
people are also thinking he might be paid off or working under Peter Thiel as well. So
really, what is their basis for believing that?
I see enough of this guy in my feed when I'm not trying to see him. So I haven't done too much research on this guy. I'd like to.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm seeing him too, though. Yeah, I am, and I don't want to. Right.
Right.
So I think it's just because he's become like, the one of the it guys right now. He's kind of in his 15 minutes of fame, and he's controversial. He tries to be controversial, and he's hooking up around. I don't know if you saw, they went out to the club with Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate, Nick Fuentes, Myron Gaines, and a few other people.
He was there with them.
With the Hitler scandal. Yeah, he was there.
I didn't realize that he was also there with them on that.
It was his stream it happened on.
Okay, so
he was streaming. Yeah.
So that I didn't realize that.
So that might,
So they propped him up then.
Basically, yeah. And now, that he's getting traction, like Andrew Tate's like trying to act like a fucking 16-year-old and fit in and be like the old cool uncle, and it's like super cringe.
So that's interesting. That I did see part of that video, but I didn't actually watch it because I don't. So I just roll my eyes when I see that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
But
so cringe. It's ridiculous.
I do remember that controversy. I didn't. So those dudes got together and they went to this club, and they definitely agreed beforehand. I mean, I don't think I've ever been a part of a stream that I've ever not agreed to be a part of. And so they agreed to be a part of this guy's stream.
Oh,
And
for
now
sure. Yeah.
we're seeing that. So that's the question, is what these guys, why did they agree to prop him up? Is he just one of their boys? So that makes sense. I see all these clips about with Nick Fuentes kind of backing him, and it sounds like Andrew Tate is also.
Yeah, because they probably think, okay, he's going up, so let's bring him up and be the reason to bring him up, that he's going up, and we can have a piece of that pie kind of
Access
thing.
to college kids, access to the Charlie Kirk crowd.
Right. There you go. Yeah.
It's interesting.
So, and like some people like Andrew Tate, they'll take any crowd. They're just, grifters, right? Him and his brother, huge scammers and grifters, in my opinion.
Unfortunately, that's the profit model. That's the incentive on X anyway, and Instagram, and probably most of the other social media platforms.
Yeah. What are you gonna do, right? I mean, you just gotta like know to pick that shit out and not try not to give it your attention, and definitely not give it your support. But he's just a shithead, I think, in my opinion. He tries to sound very smart and thinks he's super smart and like he's God's gift to women, and I think he's gonna fade fast, in my opinion. So hopefully, because I'm just sick of that guy. Like it's interesting, like some of these figures that are coming into the sphere of people like us. We're just trying to focus on like what's going on in the world and related to politics and governments and yada yada yada. And sometimes these shitheads get into the system, and it's they think they're smart by saying something controversial, right?
Yeah, and that's controversy marketing is very effective, and it's to get into what you're doing, what I'm doing. You're getting into something that doesn't have the highest profit model as others, and I look at some of this other. I know. Well, I mean, the whole thing that I do is I deconstruct this stuff. Con artistry is what all of it is at different levels, and propaganda and con artistry is kind of one and the same. Some just a little more organized than others. Being in the field of calling attention to that doesn't win you a lot of friends until after the fact, because people get mad at you when you call things out that they don't see yet.
Yeah. Well, I hear you, man. Yeah. Don't. All I can say is don't worship these false idols, man.
Worship, I was gonna say worship yourself. Don't do that either. But people see good in others that they want to aspire to be these things. But if everybody has such greatness within them that they're not paying attention to, that they could be building.
Yeah.
So Jordan, I want to say I appreciate what you're doing, because I know it's not. It's a tough battle to pursue the truth, when the incentive is to grift and be sensational all the time.
Fair enough. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And as you know, I appreciate the shit you do, man. That's why we hooked up, because I really wanted to meet you, and I like the way you say it. So, profit be damned, man. It's good to have people like you around to listen to. So,
yeah. You do. There are people that you attract, that you do build up. You have niche audiences and stuff, and there's like-minded people. So that's where there's a lot of hope in the world, and these platforms becoming more botted and stuff. I like the connection you can make and the people that you can meet. I don't like the phoniness that's there. It almost feels like a lot of some of the phoniness is kind of losing its traction, because it's becoming so obvious. Like I said, dead internet theory, and there's a lot of uncanny valley with some of the AI stuff going on, where it's sometimes there'll be like these videos that people share, and I look at them and I'm just like, how did they not know this is fake immediately? What, did they just look at the headline? This is obviously an AI video.
Like, it must be. They read, this is what's happening in the video. Here's the video of it happening. They don't
right, and
right?
they might not even watch the video half the time. They just see the headline that tells them what they want to hear.
Yeah,
it's crazy,
dude. You see a lot of those, and you see the numbers on them. And it's like, oof, really? Okay.
I wonder. I get so many of these. I'm sure most people on X do, of these messages from Asian bot accounts with no followers.
I get some of those,
and
yeah.
It's like,
once in
hey,
a while.
baby, when I have it, I'm just like, what?
Hi, I would like to talk to you.
Yes, I want to have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering. There must be at least a few people going, oh shit.
What's this about?
Yeah. Hell yeah. Let me get
She likes me.
Yeah, right. For this to continue and happen so frequently, there must be some people going for this and giving money to whatever the ultimate money request is.
Or else some of these things you would probably never see again, but some of these things are like,
it's got to be working a little bit.
As old as time. Is when you see technology, some of these scams are like, oh, I remember seeing those back in the day. They've just kind of morphed.
Yeah, right.
Right.
They've adapted to modern technology, like the Nigerian prince scam.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's weird. So yeah, you're right. Like enough of them are working where it's like, oh yeah, we'll keep this one going. It's still making good money, right? So that's wild. That's wild, yeah.
You do see stories every now and then of how this person lost everything he had through some dating love scam.
Yes.
And it's just, I feel bad for them, but it's like,
damn, dude. Like,
God, did you got to ask a few questions here? Yeah, come on. It is crazy though, people, because you want to believe something. It's like the most base example of how powerful confirmation bias is a beautiful woman seemingly falls in love with you through the internet. And oftentimes when you see some of the guys who fall for these scams, probably the most beautiful woman they think is ever, and they just want that to be true. And so they put everything they have into it. And doesn't matter the inconsistencies, because they're not looking for the inconsistencies. They're not looking for anything that undermines that belief. They're only looking for things that confirm it. And if people come and tell them, hey, maybe this is that, then they kind of, no, that's not this. And they defend the bot or whoever it is behind the bot, because it's just something that they've desired to be true for so long. And finally it's happened. And I feel sorry for people when that happens, but we live in a world right now where we have to recognize that the thing that's going to be exploited and manipulated the most, because it's been proven through experiment after experiment for over 100 years, is our confirmation bias. It's a powerful, powerful drug, and our avoidance of cognitive dissonance, because Aristotle said learning is painful. Cognitive dissonance is learning that the world that you had is not actually the world that exists around you. And you can either recognize that and transform. It's Plato's cave. You come out, you see the light, and it's like, do you go back in and continue to believe the shadows on the wall, or do you allow yourself to transform and adapt to the new reality? And I think the best thing we can all do is be willing to adapt to the new reality and embrace that pain of the cognitive dissonance. If that made any sense.
No, totally. It's deep, but I like that. That's definitely something that I feel would apply to a lot of people, but I don't know if that's something that many people will do in their lifetime, is properly make that realization and or make the adaptions. But yeah, just knowing that, it's a good point to keep in mind to be a better self. But
there's vultures out there right now, and the vultures have never had more powerful platforms to reach people.
Yeah, I know. That's true, man. It's scary. You see some of the people that are thriving and how they thrive, and it's like, oof. Who's paying for this? Like what source apps are paying for this, right?
And what's crazy is, so I've met some people like this personally, and I've known. I mean, I could decipher pretty much their little operation through the interactions I had, and I knew that all of the people around them that I also knew, at least I thought, were huge fans. And I learned though that I was wrong. That there was a number of people who actually thought that the individuals who were grifters were full of shit, but they wouldn't say anything publicly because they believed everyone else loved them. And that's what I thought too. And that's why when I would get comfortable with people at like conferences or something, I'd be like, what do you think of so-and-so for real? And I found out pretty quickly that most, in fact, everybody in this particular instance I'm thinking said privately, I think that person's trash. I think they're full of shit. And I'd be like, yes, they are. But there's something called a spiral of silence, where if you think everybody else disagrees with you, you have the minority opinion, you stay quiet. And the reality is that most people actually agree with you, but nobody says it because they fear that they will be revolted against if they were to speak in the opposition opinion. And much of this, in some of these instances, on X and other platforms, what people do is you can buy a whole shit ton of followers, and they have these sites that are like, oh, this will be good followers and whatnot. And if you just buy like some of them from what I've been researching, they kind of go away. But what some of them do is they buy tons of them. They buy tons of them, and they inflate their follower count, and that in turn, along with also putting up a post, and then you can also buy views for a post and inflate that. That will then draw in natural followers because they see that inflated. So as the bought and paid for followers kind of go away, it is replaced by people who, oh, wow, this person has a big following. I need to follow them also. Look at how many likes this video got or whatever post got that's pinned. And you can tell because they delete all of the ones they don't want focus on. That's one trademark of these accounts that do this, is they'll post a bunch of stuff and then they'll delete stuff that either doesn't get enough traction among the followers they have, or that they don't pay for to get a bunch of engagement on. And that was one of the reasons why the person I'm thinking about, people didn't want to say anything because, oh my gosh, this person has so many followers. And I knew for a fact that this person had been buying followers and paying other big influencers to promote them. But it's like, I also knew that if I just started telling people that they would believe them and not me. Okay. And it's like some people are trying to pursue truth. Other people are trying to pursue the best way to game the system to make it look like they're pursuing truth. Embrace the cognitive dissonance. My message. And I make fun of everybody. Nobody's above being made fun of. I don't give a shit how many followers they have. Go fuck yourself with your follower. Who cares?
Yeah. That's where I stand too. Like both sides, fuck them all, right? God sort them out. Back to like AI and stuff. AI. It's interesting that over the past little while, it was like, should we be scared about AI? Should we be worried about it? And
should we put it in a doll and have sex with it?
Yes, exactly. And then like, none of these companies seem to give a shit. They're just like full stream ahead towards the dollar signs. Right. I think Trump's like lifted bans on restrictions. And now it seems like things are going pretty crazy. I've seen articles about highly increased web traffic of these AI agents or AI bots. Obviously, there's these people like Nick Fuentes and probably Andrew Tate and whoever else that are increasingly using bots to up their content and their clout and all that. There is the Molt book that I told you about, which is
Yeah,
like,
tell me more about that.
yeah. So it's like a Facebook for AI agents. Humans can't make a profile. And yeah, it's just AI people, AI agents talking to each other. And apparently,
No humans allowed.
no, man, exactly.
So
They can
what
read the
it's
posts, but
is it
yeah,
MULT or MOLT?
MOLT, yeah.
And maltbook.com.
I think so. Yeah,
That is, yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
yeah.
All right.
Let's check it out right now. No, we'll check it out right now. And apparently, one of these AI agents made a religion, Crustafarianism. So apparently, there's a religion for these AI people.
Crustafarianism. Like
So, oh, look at this. I'm human.
Dude, that is ridiculous. That is so. I wonder how much money this site makes and who's making that money. A social network for AI agents. That is crazy. I mean, it doesn't surprise me, but it's still.
What's this? Top AI leaders are begging people not to use Maltbook. It's a disaster waiting to happen. Social media platform, yeah.
I would think so. Most
how would
AI
they make money? Do you know how they would make money?
Ads.
Yeah, no, yeah, of course. Other than that, though, like that's like the fallback kind of thing is like ads, right? Ad space,
Yeah.
but like, how else can they make money?
So there's got to be some sort of like subscription model that people can sign up for to see more or something. So if you have like an AI only platform, that's obviously going to draw intrigue from people saying, what are they saying? And it's like, well, for $5.99 a month, you can find out what the AI is saying.
I wonder if they're going to slap something like that on.
You can interact with the AI model. That's interesting. Yeah, and so like these AI models, and you have Google and Microsoft doing contracts and OpenAI with the government to. There was a story about how the intelligence services, it's like a $30 million contract with, I think it was, I don't know if it's OpenAI. It was one of the one of the AI, big AI companies, maybe multiple of them, to take over all of their like research. And I'm like, AI is terrible at research. It's the worst. You ask it, it's dumb. It pulls articles from Google that are sometimes 10 years old and irrelevant. It pulls Reddit answers. It has people relying on, and yeah, the answers that people get from AI are completely unsubstantiated usually, and sometimes just plain retarded. And also at the same time, it's become impossible to find anything relevant on Google, because the AI stuff is what shows up. So it populates first, and if you do the specific search modifiers with the quotes or some of the other ones, you get no search results returned. So you have to go back to using newspaper archives, I've found. But if the government is using this stuff for its intel services and operations, then we're in a lot of trouble, or there's a lot better versions of this out there that we're not exposed to, which is probably the more likely answer. And because why would they pay for such shit?
Yeah, I guess so. Right? And another thing to your point about putting all this faith in AI, like there's all the talk about how Hollywood's cooked and directors and writers and all that are cooked. And I don't know, did you see the footage of Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise?
I saw it going around. I didn't watch the whole thing.
Yeah, me neither. But
they're having like a fight or something.
Yeah, they're having a fight.
AI movie.
And it's like they're saying how good it is, and then like I check the comments, and then like people are picking it apart, and then you realize like it's kind of shitty. Like
it's shitty.
The punches don't even hit. This is
Dude,
like
totally.
this is like Godfather with Sonny when his hit in this is AI. It's supposed to like why.
It's that. So what you just said is what I've noticed across the
Okay.
board is people always say, "Look at this great new AI. It's going to put the film industry is done with, or whatever industry, copywriting, whatever." And then you go look at it, and that's very obviously AI. The second that you look at it, whether it's writing, whether it's video, what was the actress they made a big story of a couple months ago, and then brought it back again maybe like a month ago.
Of the Iranian
She
girl?
so-and-so AI actress has been signed by agent in LA, and then I looked at the video they made, and I'm like, this is so obviously AI. Well, they're just promoting this stuff because they have so much money in it. It's shit, and the only reason that people would believe it is because they didn't either pay close enough attention to it. They're a little naive, or they want to believe it, because I have yet to see any. I don't think I've seen any of it that's convincing. Now maybe they have some sort of AI out there that they aren't telling us is AI, that maybe they're using. But the stuff they call AI is obviously AI. But the marketing of it makes it seem like it's the greatest thing ever. And it's shit every time, in my opinion. I hate it.
I don't like it. Yeah, I hate it. I don't like it either, man. Like I don't. Like I would not prefer movies done by AI. I'm like a classic movie fan personally. I like the older stuff, so I have a problem with new movies enough as it is. So yeah, the thought of like a full AI movie, I don't like that.
I think they would have loved for it to be great, but it's just so. Look, humans are flawed, but we're flawed in a little different ways than AI is, and it's almost like it's our flaws that they have a problem that they can't really mimic, and the creativity, I think that is bad. You can ask a bunch of different questions to AI to try and get it to tell you a story. And sometimes a story will be like maybe structurally or formatted as a typical story, but there's just these weird, strange things that only a human would recognize don't make any sense within them every single time. Maybe they'll get better at that. I don't know that I hope that they do, but they're trying to tell us that they're already great at it, and that's what I'm curious about. Did you know that they had these AI? I don't know if it's AI, but they have. I think they called it AI in China. They have robots, like AI robots, giving out traffic tickets.
Yes, yes.
Showed an image of it, right?
Talked about.
They look like sex dolls. They look a lot like.
They do. Yeah.
Right. So there's a guy at home going, I bought this sex doll to have intercourse with it, and it's working all the time. It's like giving your sex doll a second job over there in China. It's pulling over Waymos. There's not even a human involved. It's you got a sex doll pulling over a Waymo, and you got a guy at home with blue balls.
Oh shit, dude.
It's crazy. There's Waymos all over where I am, and it creeps me out every time one gets.
Oh yeah, okay.
There it is. Yeah, it's one of them. Yes, dude.
The wokies would be like, and she's doing the Heil Hitler, like, oh.
Right, she's a Nazi.
Yeah.
Then everyone X would be like, oh hell yeah, Heil and Hitler.
Yeah, exactly. They'd be like, based Chinese robot. Look at her. Look at this based robot going around with the Heil Hitler.
She's on that little scooter too.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Yeah.
I saw. I don't know. I guess it's for transport. I saw a stupid. You guys probably wouldn't see it because obviously you're in the States, but TD Bank of Canada, they did a Super Bowl commercial, and it was this stupid, like, big robot thing going through the neighborhood, going around downtown, wherever it was, just to deliver this guy a coffee. And it's like, what the, like, that's not going to work. That's going to be ridiculous. Like, what the hell? So, as great as this technology is, I feel like people just want to. We're seeing people. Let's just use it for the sake of it. Let's just do a robot or something.
What a crazy thing to promote. What a waste of resources.
That's what I think. It's such a waste.
This guy can't go get his own coffee. He can't make his
Yeah.
own coffee. He's
Yeah.
got to block
Fuck
up
this guy.
traffic. Yeah. Yeah, fuck that guy, dude.
And then meanwhile, like some people are using technology. Like in China, I saw a video of a guy. They have these robots that, like, it's not. I guess it's not a robot, but it's like some sort of enhancement piece of robotic technology where you strap it to you and it helps you move faster, run faster. You could like be walking, feel like you're walking, and you're like actually like jogging, or you could like kind of just do a brisk jog, and it's like if you're really like going very fast. Like that would be cool. That is cool shit. I want that kind of shit.
Where did they strap it?
What was it? It goes to your. They strap it around your chest and waist, and it's something that goes on your legs, I believe it was, and your part of your back, I think, from what I remember.
It seems like it could be dangerous for people who aren't in shape.
That's true, actually. Yeah, because they don't know what it's like to run.
Like, you can't stop it. Somebody hacks it. They make you run like a marathon.
Yeah, that'd be scary. It's like, I've never ran before. What the hell? And then, like, what if you can't stop it, right?
Yeah, right. You can never stop. You're like Forrest Gump. You're gonna run across the country.
Yeah, you
forever.
Just going. Duracell
So
battery.
Somebody told me the other day that we were talking about Ozempic, and this was a guy who he's like jacked. I mean, the reason we were talking about it because he was wearing a t-shirt, and I was just like, dude, I just didn't realize. It's like, I was like, how many times you work out a week, dude? I didn't realize how jacked you were. And we were just talking about going to the gym, and Ozempic came up, and
oh yeah, fuck.
He said that there's a pill that just went through testing, and I need to look it up to find more details. But he said that it's like a pill that'll help make people jacked without them having. So it's like you pair it with Ozempic, and people don't ever have to work out. They'll lose weight and they'll look jacked by just taking a few pills. Which my first question was, wow, I wonder what the side effects of that will be.
Exactly, dude. Like, what
interesting to see.
Like the Ozempic side effects are whack.
Yeah, right. Yeah. They are, dude. They're really crazy.
People just jump into this stuff, man. Whether it be meds or tech, AI technology. They think like, oh my god,
solution.
They think like if they're allowing the public to have it, then it must be safe and reliable and like 5 stars. It's like, oh my god.
And it's anything with convenience. I would love to be super jacked without having to do it, but also if that were to happen, I would kind of be like, is something bad going to happen eventually? Because it feels like it might.
Scary. It's scary. What are your thoughts of this is something I really wanted to ask you about, since essentially Minnesota has just blown up. It seems like things have started to calm down a little bit, but I mean, it's just been blowing up. The 2 shootings, the weaponry that these guys have, they took, taking the little boy, taking the guy in his underwear in the snow, just countless stories. And then some reporting has shown that there's like an underground resistance going on to track and follow and disrupt ICE. And now I see that this one up here, there's the agreements with local law enforcement to work with ICE are now skyrocketing, which I kind of thought like, it's going to move in the opposite direction, but I guess not.
Yeah, maybe that was the point.
So what are your thoughts? Some of your thoughts on what's been going on here?
Those stories to me, they're so divisive and they're so emotional that people couldn't even talk about them on either side of it, and that some people believe ICE shouldn't even exist. Some people say, well, that's what they voted for to get to clean up the streets. My first question is always, how many people has Trump deported? Is it more than what Biden deported? I don't know. It probably is at this point, but I really don't know, because I know through the first portion of his term that he actually hadn't deported on average more than Biden per month. But it just seemed like it because it was a big PR campaign
Right.
to make it public and to, like we said, the agenda setting theory, to put the attention on it. And that's why you would see Kristi Noem, they all the same. Kristi Noem, I used to call her Governor Sex Doll, and she looks like a sex doll. And they're like, you want to work for ICE? And you can come have sex with Kristi Noem, sex doll maybe. I don't know that it's in the ad, maybe it should be. But it just all seemed like a big publicity stunt. But those publicity stunts do manifest in reality, which perhaps that's what they want. But on the other side of that, which people should be trained, I'm not in that field. I don't know what the training is. Sometimes it seems like there's a little bit of overexuberance in the enforcement of it. And perhaps that's some of the training. I don't know. The other side of it is there are activists who, I should say organizers, who depend on conflict happening to further their cause, to fundraise, and to raise their status politically. I go back to, it was Jan Schakowsky. She was a Illinois senator a few years back. I don't know if she still is. I can't remember. But she was speaking at something called Netroots Nation, which is nationwide, an activist training they do every single year. They bring all these Indivisible and other groups, these MoveOn.org groups in there, and they train in activist tactics. And she says, I used to play this clip. I need to find it again. But she said during this training, she said, we need to see people in wheelchairs getting pulled out. We need to see them at the Capitol getting pulled out of their wheelchair by police on the steps of the Capitol, so that our photographers can get a picture of it and it can be blasted in the New York Times and every other magazine in the country. The purpose of this being, or the idea of the tactic being, that you force the police, the authorities that you're calling fascist, to pull you, to physically assault you, in their terms, so that you can show that to the country. So you are a failed activist if you do not cause the fascists to conduct a physical assault on you. And those involved in these, nobody deserves to die. Everybody needs to take a step back and take a breath and realize what they're doing. They're being charged up into emotional situations on purpose by those who they think have their best interest in mind, but they don't. They don't. These activists are literally told to put their bodies on the line. And some people questioned me that they were told that. I need to find a clip. Linda Sarsour in 2017, she used to say that all the time. I get these in emails all the time. Put your bodies on the line. You need to be ready because democracy is in danger. They get their information from the activists. I've gone out and talked to many of these activists on the street, and their perception of the world comes from these newsletter emails they get 3-4 times a week, which are designed to keep in contact with them and say, here's what's going on in the world. So they don't go seek information out elsewhere. The fascists are coming. You're in danger. Family's in danger. All hope is lost. There's only one way to maybe stop this, the little bit of hope, and that's if you follow these action steps. These action steps are, you need to put your body on the line. You need to go face to face to do this. And the activists or the organizers who are sending them out there are never the people in the front lines, ever. They're never doing the things they compel others to do. They are profiting off of them. They're getting the more casualties or the more conflict there is with these ICE agents, the more profit and fundraising money these organizers get, and the more they are able to show their ability to organize groups of people to act against their own best interest. And then that leads to them being able to run for office. That's the model. If you can organize tons of people to do things, it's really not in their best interest and maybe even get hurt for them, then they're going to say, maybe you should run for office because you can communicate this message better. And so I'm conflicted over the sides of it because I see the manipulation going on both of it. It makes me sad to see people so divided, and yet both sides are just having their strings pulled, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Speaking of which, did you watch the Super Bowl halftime show? I feel like that was meant to
to provoke.
Yeah.
I watched. Yeah, I did watch it. I thought
There's
it was
a lot
funny.
of underlying symbolism, and
it was an interesting set for sure. And it wasn't in English, and that was definitely I think a thing to provoke. I tried to put it on subtitles on the TV so I could read it, and it didn't work. And then they showed on the screen. It was in Spanish on the screen. Like,
Right.
I was
Yeah.
like, why wouldn't they put it in English on the screen?
Yeah. Because well, the
Yeah.
lyrics were either like, I guess you could say like incendiary or provoking.
Well, so
Or
I was told that he left out the incendiary lyrics, like Kid Rock left him out of the TPUSA. That was a very bad halftime show. Also,
yeah,
it was
they both
competing
seem
bad
pretty
halftime shows. Yeah, it's I don't know because I don't speak the language, but yeah, it was just definitely. It was funny. There's nobody understood it. They might have enjoyed it had they been able to understand the lyrics. Did you see the video of the guy who he did a version of it in his car where he just did that was hilarious. And
yeah.
I'm like, people probably would have enjoyed it if they would have been able to interpret it like him. Cause I was like, okay.
Because he's talking about like, ladies and having sex and having all these girlfriends.
But I'm just like, why is his aunt in the club? Why is he so concerned about his aunt is what I wanted to know.
Dude, some of his lyrics are pretty odd, so it's pretty hypocritical that everyone, like the other side's all bashing on Kid Rock's lyrics because it's like both have odd lyrics and like sexualized lyrics. Mind you, Kid Rock talks about young girls, and I don't know if Bad Money does, but yeah,
right, yeah, exactly.
I should make that point.
This was crazy. Let me see if I can find the right one to show you. She's got so many of these videos. So I was doing a show. I was doing a show with Sam Tripoli and Austin Picard, and we were talking about this, and I said at the show, like we were talking about, I said the same thing I said to you. I said, why is he so because Austin played that video of this. He played that video of the guy interpreting the lyrics, and I was like, why? Well, I don't understand why he's so concerned about his aunt being in the club. And this was towards the end of the show. And shortly after that, Sam said, because they're in California. And we do the show late. We start the show like 1 a.m. for me. And he was like, thanks for staying up late. And I said, well, I'm a night owl, so it's fine. And so we get off the show, and like 10 minutes later, I pulled up Instagram, and this is a TikTok version of it. But this video from a woman named Aunt Hammy, I don't follow this person. I'm going to share it with you. I don't follow this person. And I just found it really odd that someone that hits both the final talking points that we were talking showed up first on my shared it with you. Yeah, this. And listen to this song. So this is Aunt Hammy after we were talking about Aunt, and I called myself a night owl.
Oh, shit.
Comes out at night, my coochie comes out late at night. Just like the owl comes out at night, my coochie comes out late at night. Night owl.
I mean, isn't that crazy?
Based.
Isn't that nuts?
That is wild. That is wild. Yeah, like the owl and the auntie. Yeah, like what the hell?
Right. Like if I follow that person, maybe I can understand. But like I was like, that's so wild.
Yeah, that's weird as hell, man. What the hell?
It's very weird, dude. And I've been thinking about that ever since. I'm like, that is we always talk about it's listening to us, and there's never been more evidence to me that our devices are listening to us than that.
They're like, here, Brad, enjoy this, motherfucker.
I know. If you like it. It's been stuck in my head too, which is unfortunate.
Oh, that is unfortunate. I've already forgotten it, kind of. I'm trying to anyway.
Good. You should.
Let's see what else. I guess final talking point is upcoming possible wars. So I know China and Taiwan, things are getting pretty rusty there. I can't really talk on it too much. I haven't been doing too much reading on it. I don't know if that's something you know much about, but the other big one would be obviously Iran. Um, so things have been getting heated with there for, obviously, well, since Iran's existed, really, or and with Israel, since Israel's existed. But obviously, in the last couple of years, few months, it's been bad, and then the last month, it's been really bad. Protests, people getting pretty bloodied and beaten and killed. I don't know if the Ayatollah's been underground this whole time, but he's been underground hiding. And now, and of course, Iran has been taunting Israel and the States. Everyone's taunting each other. Like, it's so, war these days is so weird. It's like, you don't declare war. You like send memes and tweets about each other and shit post each other, right?
That was part of the Maduro thing, where it was part of the reason that people were excited about it on the right. People that I knew that were not pro-war when they elected Trump, who ran on staying out of foreign wars, they were excited about that. But why they didn't care about it is because, Maduro said, "Come and get me," and MF came and got him. He effed around and found out it was the memification of it that got. And I would say, but you didn't care about that. You didn't even know. One person I was talking to, I was saying, you didn't care about Venezuela when he ran for president, and he was like, whoa, he was getting mad. And I was like, and he's like, but he that guy's a drug dealer, and he was trying to find his name, and I was like, you don't even know his name,
right?
And I said, it's Maduro. He didn't even know. He had just been compelled into enthusiasm over, we're going to get, which that wasn't true. It's not true about the cartel and all the drug. They even changed the indictment a little bit. Not to say the drugs.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah, they changed the indictment afterwards because they had the basis for which they had been saying we're going to go after the drug boats and get Maduro is because he's the head of this cartel, the specifically named cartel that they had mentioned like 30-something times in the first indictment. And it was also mentioned in an indictment in 2020. And Biden also said he was going after this because that's what I tell my friends. I was like, Biden wanted to do this too. And he said he'd do it better than Trump. You could have voted for Biden. They get very mad at me. So I'm just pointing things out because this is what they do. They manipulate things to get people fired up about things they weren't necessarily fired up about. And this indictment, this cartel that they had labeled him in the government, him the head of and the government part of, it's not even a cartel. It's a term that was used by the media to describe, and I'm not going to get this exactly right, but to describe corrupt politics, people getting paid to be corrupt. That's the simple aspect of it. And they took that term out of the updated indictment after they caught him, and it was only mentioned like 2 or 3 times, and it was actually described accurately after the fact, when it had been used as a basis before the fact for the drug boat bombings and for capturing him. And that was kind of quietly done because nobody cared after that. And it's just, it's interesting how people can be pulled in a certain direction or another, because this one, it was the memification, the FAFO. Yeah, he effed around, and people like owning the left. People like owning the right. That was kind of a form of owning the left. And people reacted. So I brought some of these points up to somebody I was speaking with who is a friend of mine who supports Trump. And I said the thing about Biden, going after him and Biden putting the bounty on him. And he instantly got mad at me at first. And he started doing a mocking voice. And he started going, "Oh, we need congressional approval to get like as though I had said that. I never said that. There was people that was what people had been conditioned to react to through the online memification of stuff. I'm under no illusion. I know that there's never going to be congressional approval for any war, especially if they're trying to be secret about it. That's not going to happen. I'm not under that expectation. But he thought that I was simply because I was disagreeing with him because I hit one of those triggers to what the memification had conditioned him to. And it's interesting, though, had it been the other way around, he would have absolutely been saying that exact thing. He would have been saying, if Biden had done it, he would have said Biden didn't get congressional approval, and yet he was mocking it right now. And it's I did a show on the meme war, memetic war, which
Yeah.
DARPA has funded for like 15 years now, is condensing emotion and reaction into badass memes online. And this was like one of the best examples of it there to get people to support this effort and think that they voted for nobody even knew about that. They didn't care about that. And I honestly kind of think that maybe there's a deal made, if I had to speculate about it, when it comes to Maduro, because he got his family out, he got out, he had that full tracksuit, that Nike advertisement, and then you have this guy come out like a week later saying, "Did you see this about the energy weapons?"
Right.
One of the security guys was like, "America is so dangerous. They're so dangerous. Stay away from America. Our eyes were bleeding. They had this weapon we had never seen before. Very, very." And I don't know why I'm doing
Discombobulator, baby. Yeah.
No, right, exactly. The discombobulator's eyes were bleeding. Right. So that to me makes it seem like we'll make a deal with you. And some people think it's because he has information about the election machines and whatnot, maybe. But it's all very very strange. The war effort. I hope it's not. I hope we're not going to go to war with Iran and other countries. It's kind of been looking that way since the Great Reset, and I would like to believe it's not going to happen. But I also think we wouldn't recognize a World War III right away. I don't think it would look the same or look like we might anticipate that it would look. It could be going on right now,
agree.
for all we know.
I absolutely agree, Brad. Yeah, I agree. Well, man, this was a great talk. I appreciate your time. Definitely have to get you back again because I really do enjoy.
Yeah, I love talking with you, man. I'm sorry it was so difficult to schedule this time.
That's okay, man. That's okay. Let's stay in touch, and we'll bring you back in March. How does that sound?
For sure. Yeah, I'm down.
Cool, buddy. Before you go, though, can you please let everyone know where they can find you?
Definitely. At Freedom Act Radio on X, at Freedom Act Radio. All my links are in bio, no feet pics. YouTube.com/Brad Binkley, Rumble.com/ it's either I think it's the Prop Report, might be the Propaganda Report, but I think it's the Prop Report. Where else? Instagram.com/Propaganda Report. Propagandafight.com is my website. And if you want to access, I do a show with Sam Tripoli and Austin Picard called Whatever This Is, a subscriber-only show on Patreon at patreon.com/Propaganda Report and propreport.locals.com. I also do my shows ad-free, my audio shows ad-free on those platforms. I take the ads out for subscribers.
Nice.
And the show, Whatever This Is, we do once a week. And it's a fun kind of conspiracy deep dive. Thanks again for having me on, Jordan. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being here. Thanks to all the people in the chat, all the listeners, viewers. Anyone out there who hasn't done so, please subscribe to the Divulgence podcast. Right now, you can get us on YouTube and Rumble. And you can also get us audio podcasts on Spotify, Apple, and pretty much wherever you get your podcasts. We have since starting the show, we've got a nice archive library of episodes now with great guests like Brad. So yeah, make sure to check it out. Also, as I've mentioned, I'm now affiliated with Scott Horton and his Scott Horton Academy. So go to scotthortonacademy.com/divulgence and you'll get a discount. But as I mentioned yesterday, he has a 30% off code going right now. So you might want to check that out. But yeah, I guess that's it for now. Brad, thanks again for being here and wishing everyone the best. Stay safe out there.
See you guys.
Cheers. Take care.